Welcome to our deep dive, everybody. Today we're tackling self-efficacy. We've got a whole bunch of research studies and expert analyses. Oh, and some really interesting real-world case studies, too. We're going to look at how believing in ourselves can really shape what we do, even our whole lives.
Yeah, and you know what's really cool about self-efficacy? It's not like just some vague feeling of, oh, I feel confident. It's really specific, like you're judging how well you can actually do something, a particular task, a certain behavior, in that exact moment, that situation.
So it's less, I'm good at everything, more, I can nail this presentation, even if I'm terrified of public speaking.
You got it. It's I can do this right here, right now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. That's different from what we call outcome expectations.
Oh, interesting. What's the difference?
Okay, so imagine you think, if I exercise, I'll be healthier. That's your outcome expectation. But maybe you also think, there's no way I'll stick to a workout routine. That's where self-efficacy kicks in, is whether you believe you can do the actions regardless of the result.
Makes sense. So even if I know something's good for me, if I don't think I can do it, I won't even try.
Exactly. And studies actually show this. Self-efficacy is way better at predicting whether someone will change their behavior than just knowing the outcome.
So it's not just some feel-good concept. It really impacts our lives. How? What are some examples of that?
Let's say someone has agoraphobia, that fear of open spaces or being in public. Research found it wasn't just how anxious they were, but whether they believed they could handle being out there that predicted if they coped well. More self-efficacy, more they could push past that fear and just live their lives.
Wow, that's powerful. Shows how believing in yourself can help you overcome stuff that seems impossible. But where does this I can feeling even come from? How do we get it?
Well, psychologist Albert Bandura spent a lot of time figuring that out. He found 4 main sources of self-efficacy, and if we understand those, we can build it up in ourselves and others.
Okay, let's hear them. What's the first source?
The most powerful one, mastery experiences. Say you finally ACE that presentation you were dreading, that relief, that I did a T. That's a mastery experience. It basically tells your brain, hey, I can handle pressure.
So we prove to ourselves that we are capable, even if it seems scary at first.
Exactly. And each time you succeed, especially where you doubted yourself before, it makes you stronger for future challenges.
I like that. What about the second source?
Okay, that's vicarious experiences, all about role models. Seeing someone like you achieve something you want, that's incredibly motivating, makes you think, well, they did it, maybe I can too.
Yeah, like when an athlete breaks a world record and you're like, whoa, if they can push that far, maybe I can train harder and reach my goals too.
Yes. We get inspiration, that sense of what's possible, by seeing others succeed, especially if we relate to them.
So it's not just our own experiences, but being inspired by others. This is starting to sound like a recipe for being unshakably confident. What's the third source then?
Social persuasion. It's about the people around you, like a
Yeah.
coach who really believes in their team, even when the players are doubting themselves. That belief, it's contagious. It can boost the whole team's confidence, and then, bam, they actually perform better.
So being around people who believe in us, who encourage us,
Mhm.
that really matters for our self-efficacy.
Absolutely. But the opposite is true too. Constant negativity, people putting you down, it chips away at your self-belief.
Hmm.
What others say to us, especially people we look up to, it has a huge GE impact.
Makes sense. We're social creatures. That feedback shapes how we see ourselves. So supportive environments are key. But what about, like, our inner state? Does that matter too?
You're spot on. The fourth source is all about that. Physiological and emotional states. We all know that in the zone feeling when things just flow.
Oh, absolutely. When you have energy and focus, it's like you know you can handle anything.
Exactly. And then the flip side, when you're stressed out, anxious, totally wiped, it's way harder to feel that I can. Our body and our emotions, they can either help or hurt our self-efficacy.
So it's more than just positive thinking. It's taking care of ourselves overall to help that self-efficacy grow.
Couldn't have said it better. And actually, some researchers added a fifth source to Bandura's original 4, imaginal experiences, which means the power of visualizing things.
Yeah, like athletes picturing themselves winning before a big game.
Exactly. By vividly imagining ourselves succeeding in tough situations, we're actually prepping our brain's A and D bodies for success in real life.
So it's like giving yourself a pep talk and a practice run all at once.
Love that. It shows how connected our minds and bodies are. And what's interesting is it doesn't have to be only positive stuff. Even imagining obstacles and how you'd overcome them can help.
So not pretending it'll be perfect, but preparing to adapt to whatever comes up.
Precisely. And that brings us to a key point. Self-efficacy isn't set in stone. It's a belief system that we can grow and strengthen over time. It's kind of like unlocking potential. By understanding these sources, we can actually, work on building our self-efficacy in any part of life.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. We're not just stuck at whatever level we're at right now. We can actually do something about it.
Right. And that brings us to a really interesting point, how self-efficacy affects the way we learn and grow.
Oh, I'm all ears. Tell me more. How does it work?
Think about school, right? Back in the day. Did you ever feel like some people were just born smart? Or did you believe that anyone could get smarter if they worked hard enough?
Hmm. I remember feeling like some subjects were just easy for me, while others felt like pulling teeth.
That's super common.
Yeah.
Researchers found there are basically two ways people think about ability, and these mindsets really shape how we tackle learning, tough stuff, even setbacks. One's called the inherent capacity view. These folks see their performance as, like, proof of how smart they are. Mistakes freak them out because it means maybe I'm not smart enough.
Oof, that sounds rough. Like a recipe for self-doubt and never wanting to take risks.
Exactly. They end up always judging themselves instead of focusing on the task at hand. But then there's the acquirable skill view. Here, it's all about growth. Ability, something you develop through practice. Challenges, those are opportunities to get better. Mistakes, just part of a learning process.
So it's not about being smart or not. It's about constantly getting smarter, improving.
Bingo. And this shift in thinking, it's huge EE for self-efficacy. When you believe you can improve, you're more likely to embrace challenges, to keep going even when it's tough. And that leads to better results overall.
Yeah, it's like a positive feedback loop. Each hurdle you clear makes you more confident to tackle the next one.
You nailed it. And this applies to groups too, not just individuals. There's collective efficacy,
Hmm.
where a whole group, like a team, believes they can achieve something together.
So if everyone's on board, believing in the mission and each other's abilities, that creates a stronger, more motivated team.
For sure. Studies show groups with high collective efficacy, they work better, they're more productive, and they bounce back from setbacks way easier.
Makes sense. When everyone believes in what they're doing and who they're doing it with, they're going to work harder to get there. But what happens when self-efficacy is LOW? Whether it's one person or a whole group.
Well, that's when things can go south. Low self-efficacy can lead to people dodging challenges altogether, giving up super easily when things get tough, and stress, anxiety, those get amplified big time when you face a problem. They might even start doubting themselves in areas they USD to be good at.
Like a downward spiral. Every setback just reinforces that I'm not good enough feeling, and you get less and less confident.
That's a perfect way to describe it. And this isn't just theory, it's backed up by research. Low self-efficacy is linked to a ton of negative stuff: depression, anxiety, even physical health issues.
Not surprising at all. If you're constantly putting yourself down, focused on what you think you lack, of course that'll take a toll on you mentally and physically.
Huh.
But we've mostly talked about self-efficacy in terms of achieving stuff, performing well. Does it affect our physical health too?
Absolutely. More and more research shows that self-efficacy is crucial for how we take care of ourselves, cope with being sick, even how well we recover from injuries.
So basically, if you believe you can be in control of your health, you're more likely to have good health.
It definitely seems that way.
Hmm.
Studies have found that people who believe they can manage chronic illnesses like diabetes or heart disease, they're more likely to stick to their treatment plans, live healthier lifestyles, and ultimately be healthier overall.
Instead of feeling helpless, they're taking charge of their well-being.
Exactly. And it's not just about managing what's already there. Self-efficacy is huge for starting ABD, maintaining good habits, working out regularly, eating right, getting enough sleep, you name it.
So if you believe you can make those changes, you're actually more likely to follow through.
Right. For example, research on smokers shows if they believe they can quit, they're way more likely to actually kick the habit, compared to people who doubt they can handle the cravings and withdrawal.
If you don't think you can do it, you won't even TRI, right?
Right.
There's no point in putting in the effort if you're already convinced you'll fail.
Exactly. And this applies to all sorts of health stuff. Dealing with stress, managing chronic pain, even just taking your meds as prescribed or going to doctor's appointments.
So self-efficacy isn't just about feeling good. It really does affect our health. But is there ever a point where having too much self-efficacy can be bad?
That's an excellent question. While it's generally good to believe in yourself, there are a couple of things to watch out for. First, there's a difference between real self-efficacy, which is based on what you can actually do, and just being overconfident. That can make you reckless or make you not ask for help when you need it.
So it's like finding that sweet spot between believing in yourself, but also being honest about your limits.
You got it. And it's important to remember self-efficacy depends on the situation. You might be super confident in your career, but struggle with self-doubt in relationships, for example.
Yeah, that's true. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. What we're good at and what we struggle with can really change how we feel about ourselves in different situations.
Exactly. Another thing to keep in mind, self-efficacy is powerful, but it's not magic. Sometimes, no matter how much you believe in yourself or how hard you try, things are out of your control.
So even with tons of self-belief, there will be setbacks, challenges you just can't overcome with willpower alone.
That's right. It's important to be realistic. Don't set yourself up for disappointment by thinking you can control every single thing in your life.
So being grounded, knowing you can't control everything, helps avoid that feeling of, I failed because I didn't believe enough.
Exactly. And when things don't go as planned, remember, setbacks don't have to wreck your overall self-efficacy. You learn from them, adjust your approach, and keep building that belief in your ability to face whatever comes next.
That's a great point. It's not about never failing. It's about how you bounce back, learn, and grow from those experiences.
100%. And that actually brings us to a really exciting area of research that's happening right now. Scientists are developing specific interventions, strategies to boost self-efficacy in different areas of life. Education, healthcare, workplaces, communities, you name it.
That's amazing. It sounds like more and more people are realizing how important self-efficacy is and coming up with new ways to help people develop it.
Oh, there are so many. It's incredible. It really feels like people are starting to get how important self-efficacy is, and they're coming up with all these creative ways to build it up.
Yeah, it's exciting. What are some examples you find interesting?
Well, one thing that's really cool is using technology for personalized self-efficacy stuff. Imagine an app that tracks your progress towards a goal and gives you feedback, encouragement, even connects you with other people working on similar things.
Whoa, that's like having a pocket-sized coach and cheerleader all in one. Available 24/7 when you need a boost.
You got it. There's also some really cool research on using virtual reality to create like immersive experiences where you can practice coping skills in a safe space. Like say someone's terrified of public speaking. They could use VR to practice giving a presentation to a virtual audience to build up their confidence and reduce that anxiety little by little.
I love that. It's like taking those baby steps towards what you want to do,
Huh.
but it feels real, and because it's virtual, it's less scary.
Exactly. And as technology keeps getting better, who knows what's possible for boosting self-efficacy? Another area of research I find really fascinating is focusing on like early childhood education.
Oh, that's interesting. Why is that age so important for self-efficacy?
Well, think about it. Those early years are when kids are figuring out who they are, what they believe they can do. If we can create a learning environment that's super supportive and encouraging, give them chances to experience mastery, help them develop that growth mindset, we're setting them up for success in everything.
Wow, yeah. It's like building that foundation of self-belief that they can then carry with them for their whole lives.
Exactly. And it goes way beyond just doing well in school. Kids who believe in themselves, they're more likely to bounce back from setbacks, they build healthy relationships, make good choices, and they go after what they're passionate about with confidence.
It's like giving them a superpower they can use in every part of life.
I love that. And it really shows how important it is to invest in early childhood education, not just for smarts, but for that social emotional well-being, to help them build a strong sense of self-efficacy from the get-go.
This deep dive has been amazing. Who knew that something as simple as believing in yourself could have such a huge impact on everything we do and feel?
Yeah, it really shows how powerful our minds are, how
Yeah.
much our thoughts shape our reality. And the great thing about self-efficacy is it's not fixed. We can grow and strengthen that belief in ourselves, and that has positive ripple effects across every part of life.
So as we wrap things up here, what's the one thing you hope our listeners will take away from this deep dive?
Hmm. I'd say take some time to think about your own self-efficacy in different areas. What are you really good at? Where do you naturally shine? And then where do you struggle with the doubt? What beliefs might be holding you back from achieving your goals or trying something new? Once you've pinpointed those areas, think about small steps you can take to start building that self-efficacy muscle. Set a small, achievable goal. Find a mentor who supports you. Try visualizing yourself succeeding. Remember, even tiny shifts in your beliefs can have a huge impact. You might be surprised how much a little "I can" attitude can change things for the better.
That's a great note to end on. As we go about our day, Let's all challenge ourselves to embrace that power of believing in ourselves. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of self-efficacy.